Hi, my name is John-Fidel, and you're watching the third episode of Boys Don't Knit. Thank you for tuning in today. I wanted to start things off by going a little bit into some of the things that have happened this week. The first one is I took a trip down to a local yarn shop, and in the area there's three that I know of. There's Knit Addiction, which is in Clovis. That's the first yarn shop I've ever been to, and the second one was Jenna's Needles, which I went to by accident once, and that one I was just going in real quick because I missed to get into the lane to get into the freeway, so I thought about going into this little shopping plaza area, and I just saw the Jenna's Needles, and I stopped in there and saw it was yarn, nearly had a heart attack and ran in, and because it was always on the way to work. I realized that this whole entire time I could have been going into this place, but I haven't. But I was already late for work, so I only got to just like run through the store, see what kind of selection they had, and then get back in my car and go back to work. And the third, which I just recently went into, was Swatches in Fresno. And Swatches was a really cool store, and it was really fun. I got to talk to the owner. She was really nice, and just like all knitters, they're always really nice. And well, not all knitters. I think there's some knitters are, from what I heard, who kind of attack crocheters. But for the most part, knitters have always been nice to me. And she welcomed me in, and she had nothing but nice things to say to me, and especially after she found out I was the instructor over at Michael's. I thought she might give me like a little bit of a scowl look, but she was really cool about it. And I let her know that if I was ever teaching a class and somebody was a very advanced knitter and they weren't happy with our yarns, or they were looking for more of a selection in certain things, or they were looking for more of a selection in wool or things that aren't acrylic, then I would let them know to come to some place like Swatches. And since I've been to Swatches, that probably would be like the default place. I still need to take a trip to Jenna's Needles and really walk through and look at their yarns before I feel like comfortable. And getting a feeling for the place before I go and recommend someone to go over there. I really had fun walking through there. There were so many different yarns, and like I said in the previous video, I'm trying not to buy yarn right now. I'm trying to go through my stash and work through all that. So it was very difficult not to buy anything that day. So after I left there, took a trip over to the fabric store to see if there might be anything that other than what I already bought. Because right now what I'm planning to do is making another one of these guys right here. If you remember from last week, or from the last episode, I made this fun little needle holder. Oops. To hold all my double pointed needles, because these were getting lost a lot on me, and I wasn't happy with that. But I decided to start working on one for my 10-inch straight needles. Because right now I still have those in my duffel bag, and I had a near miss call where I nearly snapped my number 3s in half, and I really wasn't, I got a little bit scared. I'm like, you know what, I need to stop postponing this straight needle one. I just need to start working on that as soon as possible. So I was going to go and just buy some fat yards again, but I decided I wanted this one to look a little bit more fancier than this one. So I'm actually going to be using some fabric that I just had laying around. I bought this on sale over at Hancock Fabrics, and it's like a faux black leather fabric. So that's going to be for the outside part right here. And then for the inside, what goes behind the needles, I was thinking about this, kind of like a Day of the Dead skulls. I thought this was really cute. Plus also I've been really interested in Day of the Dead, even though it's passed by a few months already. Something lately has been calling me towards Day of the Dead, so I've been looking at their a lot of information on it, and I guess since I saw this fabric and I was still kind of on the whole Day of the Dead thing, I bought this. This is skulls. Skulls are cool. And the third fabric, which would be the top part, which would be the blue part that keeps the needles inside of the holder, will be this yellow part right here. Well, I really like the skulls, and I kind of don't want them to be covered up, so I'm debating whether or not to switch to yellow and the skulls, but to me I feel like it would just look a lot more, I think it would look nicer with the black, with the skulls in the back of the needles. Oh, and then also this thing right here, I was going through Pinterest and looking up needle holders, and there was this really cute one where I saw they just had a button that they sewed right here, and then they just attached on like a little latch, and so they just latch it on and off, and I think that's what I might do. instead of having the ribbon, because the ribbon can be a bit much having to tie up. But at least they're all in one spot, and that's what matters. So I don't know if you noticed while I was unrolling this, or if you remember from the last episode, I am missing the size 15 double point needles. And since I'm really OCD about that, I don't really have any products that require the size 15 needles, but I just like knowing that I have them just in case, you never know. But I ordered those from Amazon.com, so I'm expecting them on Friday. And I also ordered a size 10.5 circular needles in the 16-inch length, and those are also coming from Amazon. Those have been really hard to find around here, at least at the craft stores that I was going to. I went to Michael's. I went to Michael's in Visalia, and I also went to Michael's in Fresno, and they do not carry the size 10.5s in the 16-inch length. I don't think they carry it in the Takumi bamboo ones, which is the ones that I buy. I think they possibly carry them in the metal ones, the boil, but I doubt it. And or at least they are never there. And same thing with Joann's. Joann's, they don't carry. Well, they do carry it, but it's never in stock. I think I was trying to because I normally buy my needles from Joann's since I always have like 40 or 50% off coupons, but I've just been looking there for the past few months and they're always out of stock. And I could call ahead, but usually I just go to Joann's whenever I'm in town, which is probably once a week. And I haven't been able to find them for the past couple of months, so I just went ahead and went on Amazon.com. I also, well, if anyone knows, Amazon.com, you have to buy a certain amount to get free shipping, so I actually bought a few other things. I'm also getting into quilting, so I bought some more quilting supplies. Otherwise from that, those are the two major knitting purchases I've made that I need to, I'm just waiting on those this way I can have in my collection. I plan on making a circular needle carrying case, but I'm still debating on what kind am I going to be having, because I see knitting needle cases and I've seen some that are just like a binder. I don't really like the idea of a binder, but I mean, if it's organized, I was kind of hoping for something a little bit more flat. And so I have an idea of improving a pattern I found online, but we'll have to see. I'll wait till after I'm done making the straight needles carrying case, and then we'll even start thinking about what I'm going to do for my circular needles, because those are a pain to look for more than any of the other ones, because you have all these wires and you have to bring them out. And I don't like hearing because I always just grab them and I bring them out and it makes this weird crackling noise. And I don't like the noise because it reminds me of Insidious, like that evil red fire face guy. The noise that he makes whenever he's present, that's the noise. And when you're knitting before you go to bed, it's not a noise you want to hear. It's rare that horror movies ever scare me, but there's a few that really do scare me. I think they're like the early Nightmare on Elm Streets and Candyman, Hellraiser, and I don't know, there's just something about that character that was just really creepy. But because I don't know if I've never mentioned this on here, but I'm a huge horror movie fan, and I'm looking forward to the day, because I'm part of Ravelry. I'm in one of the horror movie groups, and I can't wait for the day that I make a horror movie themed knitwear. I kind of want to make a Nightmare on Elm Street, like a Freddy Krueger sweater, but green and red aren't really my colors, so I'm thinking maybe something that's green and red striped that would be a fun accessory to have. Maybe not a sweater, but we'll see. Now it's time for my favorite part, which is where I get to show you some of my finished work. The first thing is the Who hat. Here it is, my little bun eyes over there. This is the Who hat, and the pattern is by Sarah Amoroso, and I did this one in the Karen's Vicky Howell sheepish grayish colorway. And this is the way that it looks like when I wear it. So I'm really happy with the way it came out. I like the way it looks. I've worn it the past few days. My mom has been making me wake up really early, so wherever we're going, I just kind of put this hat on and we take off. So I'm really happy that I decided to make it for myself. I originally made this hat, or the pattern, for my friend Stephanie, and when I was finishing it and it was finished, I wanted to keep it for myself, but that was her Christmas gift and I can't be greedy, so I gave it to her and I started working on another one. The other thing is, crazy hat hair. Okay, there. The second thing is, well, I was gonna work on I think it was the all-day barrette for my friend Jessica, but I needed a certain size needle and I didn't have that needle, so I decided to work on another project while I got that needle. And so this is that project. I did another Nicholas scarf. My last video, I think I showed you the first one, which was done in the loops and thread um, tempo in the yellow sunshine colorway. This one is the loops and thread Morocco yarn in the spice chai colorway. So you can see the way it looks. All I need to do to finish this is just put in 2 buns. So I think I'm gonna have one red one and one blue one. I think that would look nice. I really didn't like the project when I was first working on it. All I know is I wanted to get rid of this yarn, and I'm like, well, I could just put this into another Nicholas scarf, since the Nicholas scarf uses a lot of yarn. You usually have to double over on yarn. And halfway through it, I was like, I really like the way it looks. Because when I first bought it, I fell in love with it because the way it looks on the yarn, it just kind of reminds me of those candies, those little dot candies that are on the strip that you eat off the strip. And then when I started working with it, I'm like, this is a really noisy like pattern. Like it's even noisier than the tempo yarn. But as I started finishing it, it reminded me of a Jackson Pollock painting. And so that's why I decided to keep it. And plus also I think it would work with a lot of different colored hats and gloves. So I'm figuring I could maybe wear this with either red gloves, red hat, or blue gloves, blue hat, or I can just interchange to both and it would probably still look pretty well, as long as the hat and gloves were in a similar style. Now for what's on my needles. If you remember from the last video, I talked about doing the all-day barrette for my friend Jessica. Well, I ended up switching that pattern because I noticed that it had a lot of yarn over it, so it's pretty obvious, but I noticed that the pattern called for bamboo yarn, and I think it was like a bamboo cotton mix, where the one that I had was all wool. And so I figured that hat maybe was something for more like spring, and I want something that she can wear to keep warm with, and I didn't think it would be that would work with all the holes. If that's wrong, then let me know. But I ended up switching to the Snowtrack Cap by Timothy Peters. This is a picture of it. I really like the way that it looks with the long ridging, the long ribbing. I lost for words for a moment. Had a bit too much caffeine today. But anyways, it goes into the really long ribbing into the cable pattern, and I thought that just looked really beautiful, and I think she would appreciate that a lot. I'm still doing this out of the Stitch Nation's Full of Sheep in the passion fruit colorway. And so this is what I have so far. I have about, I want to say it's like an 1.5 to 2 inches right now, so it still needs another inch on it. And this has been like a love and hate project so far. It's a new pattern that I have never worked with, and I've run into some issues with my gauging. For some reason, I just suddenly loosened up on my gauging when I was going into actually stitching the pattern after doing my gauge. Like something just loosened up in me. I don't know if it was because I've been having a great week so far or what, but when I made the hat, I already could tell that it was going to be loose on on Jessica's head from the measurements that I was taking. So I unraveled the whole entire project and then went back to the actual needles it told me to go on to, which is the 5 and 7 instead of the 6 and 8 that I was working on. And so I'm hoping that this just works out. I'm thinking it will. I mean, I'm just going to keep on knitting onto it till it's completely done. Once again, I'll be knitting without a cable needle because to me, I just feel like that's really fast. And it's going to be an interesting project too because I couldn't find the number 5 needles anywhere, and I just wanted to just start this project already. In the Clover Takumi bamboo needles. So I just bought the Boyle silver needles, and this has actually been working out really well for me. I like how slick it is. I like it's a little bit more heavier, but still the fact that it's so slick has been working out really well for me. So if I buy any more needles, I might have to start buying them in aluminum or those. I can't remember what the needles were exactly that are supposed to be fast. They're made out of like a ionized copper or something. Can't think of the name of them, but I'm pretty sure I can look them up after this video. So that's what's on the needle. As far as what I'm going to be doing next, I was thinking about maybe doing something more with that Loops and Thread Morocco Spice Chai yarn that I made the second Nicholas scarf out of, but I really want to get started on the Kerchif Cowl by Adriana Cray and the Patton's Classic Wool Roving in the Pacific Teal colorway. Because like I said before in the last video, I'm really excited about short rows. I had that free class from Craftsy by Carol Feller, and I really want to put that to use. I mean, I spent like a huge amount of time watching that video, and I want to be able to watch it again and do my short rows. Because I think they do short rows a little bit differently in there, but I mean, I'll follow the pattern, but I think if I were to do the Kerchif Cowl, I'll have short rows down. And that's one of the things that in the classes I teach at Michael's, they want us to do a short row class. So I think if I were to get it down and have plenty of experience and know the pitfalls and the pros to doing the short rows with at least that Kerchif Cowl and maybe a few other projects, I'll be able to start teaching that class as well. So once again, thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask them. If you're curious about any of the things I've gone over in this video, whether it be the patterns I'm using, or where to find me on Ravelry, they'll all be in the show description at the bottom. So I'll leave links to all the patterns that I've gone over right now with you guys. And like I said, any questions, feel free to ask, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good week.